Hey guys, Sam from Manfa's Makes. How are you all? Welcome back to all my returners, and hi to any newbies. It's so great to have you here. Please do stick around a while, and if you like what you see, give me a thumbie. They are free. So you're here for Crafty Catch Up. What you don't know is this is the second attempt to film this video because my laptop is being a jerk again. I got nearly 30 minutes into recording this and it just died. Yeah, so I slung it in the fridge to cool it off, had a bit of a tantrum, and now I'm back. Okay, so a little disclosure, there's not too much for me to show you this week because I have had one heck of a week. Now, that isn't the week that you are currently watching. This is last week because with the way I do my content, I film for the week ahead. So in real time, it's a week behind. Anyway, it gets confusing. I have had a heck of a week. I am filming on Saturday, September the 6th. So what I'm about to tell you are events leading up to Saturday the 6th. So I obviously uploaded last week's Crafty Catch Up, and I am going to be showing you what I have been doing in my week of crafting, but there is going to be a lot of story time, guys. I am so exhausted, emotionally and mentally drained, and my laptop having a hissy fit really didn't help matters. So I apologise if I am not my usual self, but we forge ahead. Yes, we do. Not impressed with what my hair's currently doing either, so apologies for that as well. But like I said, I'm tired. It's the weekend. I've never ever tried to be glamorous or professional on this channel. I don't even edit. So what did I get up to? So the Friday that Mike and I went away for the weekend, I finished work early and I had a couple of hours to kill before he got home, packed, and we were ready to leave. So I continued to work on my Water Lily Summer Crochet Top by the gorgeous, wonderfully talented Olga Poltava. I'm not actually going to show you what I managed to get done on the top until the end of this video, and it will make sense when I go through the timeline. So, spoiler, I did complete the majority of the front panel by the end of Friday night, but I knew with Mike and I going away that the likelihood of me getting much crocheting done was slim to none because we were hoping to have lots of wonderful adventures and not have very much crochet time. But I did still pack some crochet just in case we had some downtime, and I did manage to get some crocheting done. So I completed much of the front panel before we went on our weekend away, but I didn't want to pack it because it was quite a larger project than what I wanted to take, and all my other projects weren't really suitable either. Now, before we went away, I had already filmed in advance the new spinny wheel selection, which you would have seen this week on Monday. So I got a week's head start before you know what's going on. See, sneaky, sneaky. So I did, in fact, pack both of the Temu amigurumi kits, which is Spinny Selection number 3. So the first one I did was this one. This only had one little make in it, and it was for this cute little turtle, and I had the yarn for the green one. Now guys, this pattern should not have taken as long as what it did to do. Honestly, I worked on it the Friday night and I finished it on the Saturday night, but it's tiny, should not have taken that long. However, the yarn was much softer than I anticipated, which was great. It was a bonus, but it was super splitty. And the way this pattern is written, remembering it's from Temu, which is a company based over in China, I believe this pattern had been translated, but because I've got prior amigurumi experience, I was able to fudge my way through it essentially. So it turned out fine. But if you can look at the shell here, you will see that there was a lot of a couple of stitches of the dark, one of the light, couple of stitches of the dark, one of the light, which meant lots of colour changing because I didn't want to carry the yarn because I was scared there wouldn't be enough yarn. And I'm glad that I did snip off, colour change, snip off, colour change a bajillion times, because the ends of all those colour changes actually mostly stuffed this thing. So I barely used any of the stuffing that came with it. Now mine still needs his little eyeballs because the eyes supplied were not proper safety eyes with the posts and the clip-on backs. They were just flat black beads almost. So I am going to have to hot glue the eyes on, which I haven't got around to doing. So my turtle is currently blind. Here we go. Oh, face him the same way as the booklet. There we go. So I did get the turtle done. I had to fudge my way through to make it work because they weren't the most clearest instructions in the world, and they did techniques that were, in my opinion, slightly unnecessary to get the effect. But like I said, I fudged my way through, and I will be popping the eyes on at some point. If one of my nephews wants this, if Max wants this, it will be absolutely fine. And if they want me to pop a keychain on it, I'll be happy to do that as well. But like I said, way too long for this tiny, tiny little amigurumi. It is Diddy, and it took me 4 hours, which is crazy town. Absolute crazy town. But there we go. It is done. It's super cute. Just need to add the eyeballs. So I did get the first of the kits done because there was only one project in this one. So then after I had finished it on the second night, the Saturday night, I pulled out the other craft kit from Temu, which is this one. And there are 6 patterns in here. And I wanted something easy breezy, nice and simple after the intensive, overcomplicated, tiny, tiny turtle. So the pattern I picked was this cute rainbow bee. Absolutely cute, absolutely adorable. And the yarn in this kit was even nicer, wasn't as splitty, and it feels so soft. It's almost got like a flocked feel to it. Yeah, it's really hard to describe, but I managed to get him done. Here he is. Cuteness, really didn't take me very long. Really enjoyed working on him. Super quick project. Love it. Love the fact that it's rainbow. Now, my only criticism with this one is me. I did it when I was tired, and when I was placing the safety eyes and putting on the smile, I didn't remember to move my colour change jogs to the bottom. You're supposed to hide it underneath on the bottom where it can't be seen. Sadly, this rainbow bee has got his jog scars all up the side of his body. But do you know what? He's still cute. He's still adorable. I didn't think about it. I messed it up slightly. But I still absolutely love him. Super, super cute. And a second out of the 7 done. Happy days. Then on the Monday, I was working from home for the last day of the summer vacation that the school was shut. So I did my shift at work, but here. And then I decided to go for another of the patterns in that kit. I thought, I'm on a roll. I've got 2 down. There was 7 in total to do. So I picked this little cutie, which is a fox. Now, the colour representation between the pattern and the yarn does not correlate because my fox is neon orange. But that's okay. I used what came in the kit because that was the whole point. Now, this guy took me all evening. He took forever. I stupidly thought these are tiny, tiny, tiny little amigurumis. They're really not going to take me much time. I'm going to whip them all out. I'm going to be doing another spinny selection before the end of the month. Shouldn't have got too cocky, should I? So here is Mr. Fox, but I did get him done on Monday night. And I am super pleased with how he turned out. He is super cute. Now, if you look on the booklet, the fox's tail is placed differently. I placed mine more to the side so that you could see it more. And here is my little Foxy Loxy. Absolutely adorable. This was a new technique that I've never done on amigurumis before, to give him his little like cheek beardy, furry, whiskery things. So that was something new and different that I had never done before. Like I said, I changed the placement of the tail, but I am super pleased with how he turned out. So I now have 3 out of the 7 amigurumis made. So this is still a whip. I've still got 4 more to make, but it's a really good start on my spinny selections. So Manfa is happy about that. Now, would I rush out to go and buy a bajillion of the different amigurumi kits from Temu? No. Am I enjoying them enough to think, yeah, that was all right, that was an experience, it was a good time, I've got previous amigurumi knowledge, so it's fine? Yes, if I was gifted them, I would be very grateful. Are they the best kits in the world? No, they are not. Yeah, they're all right. They're a mediocre, but you get cute little things out of them. So, I mean, there isn't, it's not all lost. It's fine. And I've just realised that I've done the same thing with the fox's tail. That colour jog should have been on the back. Clearly, amigurumi placement when tired is not the one. So, I got my fox done. And he did turn out super cute. Absolutely love him. And again, whoever claims him, they're welcome to him. I have no plans for them. It was just what was selected by the spinny wheel. So that's what I did through till the end of last Monday, which was Monday the 1st. We then move into Tuesday. Now, Tuesday and Wednesday, I had to go into school, but it's not that the children had returned to start the school year. It was 2 days of staff training, new information, any policy changes, anything that we had to kind of brush up on, that sort of thing, before the children returned on the Thursday. So I had spent all day Tuesday at school doing this training and stuff. I was more tired because obviously I had to people a bit more than I normally do with colleagues and stuff. And when you'd spent the majority of 6 weeks not peopling that much, it was exhausting, I'm not going to lie. Not in a bad way, just in a tiring way. And then Tuesday I thought, right, I'm going to pull out the top again because I want to get the front panel finished and I really want to focus on it. And by rights, guys, today I should be wearing it and showing you the finished object. But that is sadly not the case. So on the Tuesday, I picked it up. I managed to get the front panel completed. So I've got both the back panel and the front panel completed at this point. But then unexpectedly and sadly, Mike got a bit of bad news on Tuesday night. Not my story, not going to spread it on the internet for the world to see, but it was really sad and upsetting news about a family member of his, and of course he was upset, and I put my crochet away and gave my time and attention to Mike. So that was it for the crocheting on Tuesday. So I lost a couple of hours crochet time, but that's fine. Mike needed me more, not a problem. So then on the Wednesday, I go back into work for the second lot of training days before the kids are due back. And again, it was another long day, but it was fine. Nothing really to report home about. Did everything that we needed to do. And then 10 minutes before the end of my shift, my whole world just imploded, basically. So, bit of a backstory. The night before, the Tuesday night, Max had been staying over a friend's house. And then the plan for the Wednesday is him, his friend, and his friend's mum were going out for the day about an hour and a half away from where we live, further down in Cornwall, to go to a skate park. To ride his scooter and do his tricks and live his best life, basically. So we paid for his session, he had money for lunch and stuff. And sadly, about 15 minutes before the end of his session, Max had an accident, and it was quite a significant accident. Hence the extra tiredness, the emotional stress, mental stress, all of that. Like I said, it was 10 minutes before I was due to finish my shift at 4:30. He rang me in floods of tears, really upset, scared, wanting me, Didn't really know what had happened, only knew that he had come off of his scooter, and then he passes the phone to staff members of the skate park who said that he had come off his scooter, banged his head quite badly. He had knocked himself unconscious, and they advised that he gets to the hospital. So then they passed the phone over to the friend's mum, and she said, I'm more than happy to take him where he needs to go. Are you able to come down and meet us? Because we don't know how long we're going to be. And I said, yeah, that's fine. I'm on my way. So I start packing up all of my stuff. At the end of the day, it's only 10 minutes before my shift ended. So I'm going. And even if it wasn't that close to the end of my shift, I would have been going into my manager saying I'm going. So of course now I'm panicking, I'm worried, I'm stressed. My child's hurt himself. It's his head, which is always really scary. So I'm gathering up all my stuff and preparing to leave, and Max rings again. Bearing in mind, guys, he's 13, you know, finding his feet, finding his way in the world, and he phoned me in the exact same manner that he originally phoned me 5 minutes previously, and just started telling me what had happened again. I'm like, Max, mate, you've already phoned me. I'm on my way. It's all sorted. Your friend's mum's going to take you to the hospital. I'm going to meet you down there. I told you that I'm on my way. He had no recollection of the first phone call at all. So now I'm really scared and panicked, okay? So I said, try not to worry. Try and calm down. I'll get there as soon as I can. But because I was only expecting to go to work from home, I didn't have enough fuel for the journey. My phone battery was low. It was just a complete mess and disaster of a situation. So I start driving. I get about half an hour into my journey and I think, right, I'm going to stop for fuel. I don't believe that I even pumped any gas into my car because the dial didn't really change and it was still registering as the same amount even though they took my money. Whatever. Couldn't be bothered to argue or do anything. I just paid, left. I had to get to my baby, right? Excuse me, I had a snack before filming and it's starting to make me burp. I do apologise. So I, you know, carry on with my journey. And Max rings me again and he's like, the first hospital can't help mum. They don't have the equipment that is needed to look at me. So we're going to a different hospital. So I was like, fine, that's okay. I'll reroute my GPS to the new hospital that you're going to. I'll meet you there. I'm about 45 minutes away at this point. I'll be there soon, but I am going to have to stop and get fuel. So I stopped second time for fuel. In a flap, in a panic, wanting to just get there, and everything's like preventing me from getting there in a, you know, quick manner. So I drive a little bit further down the road after getting fuel and the heavens just opened, guys. It was absolute torrential rain, which meant that I had to slow right down because of the, you know, the weather conditions of the road and visibility and stuff like that. So now I'm really stressed and I'm really getting frustrated because now I'm going even slower to get to my baby that needs me. So I eventually get there at 6:30 p.m. So actually it took me more like 2 hours to get to him. I park up, even though I've never been to this hospital before, didn't know the area at all. I eventually managed to get there. And I park up and I ring him and find out where he is. Took a while to get through, you know, staff finding where he is and stuff. But I eventually got to him. His friend's mum and I made arrangements to collect his stuff the next day. I obviously thanked her for being with him until I got there. Apologised for the inconvenience, even though it can't be helped. Accidents can't be helped. She wished us the best. She left. And then Max and I had quite a long and drawn out process at the hospital. But to be fair, if we had gone to our local hospital, we probably still would have been there when we eventually did get home. So to be fair to them, they did rush us through quite quick. It was just a long afternoon because all of the emotions, all of the stress, Max being tired, us both being hungry. It was a lot. We saw a couple of doctors because he had his helmet on. He had all the safety gear on, guys. He didn't, you know, he did it all by the book. But the way he fell is he fell face first. and obviously the helmet only protects like the forehead back. So he actually fell face first, and he actually caught his eye and the side of his head on another ramp as he fell forward, which is why he knocked himself unconscious. So they wanted a CT scan to make sure that there was nothing going on that we couldn't see. He was already swollen, he was already bruising, but they just wanted to check that there was nothing more sinister going on. So we went for the CT scan, then we had to wait for the results. Now, at this point, my phone battery is all but dead, and I'm thinking, we live an hour and a half away. I have no clue how to get home. The GPS is going to rinse the rest of my battery. How are we going to get home? So I did ask the wonderful nurses there if there was any way they could go above and beyond for me and give my phone a bit of charge while we're waiting for, you know, all of the scans and results and stuff, because we live an hour and a half away and I really do need to get him home and safe. And bless them, they took my phone, they put it behind the desk charging while we were doing all the bits that we needed to do. And they did manage to get my phone up to about 60%, which is still not as high a percentage as I would like, but it was enough to get us home, thank goodness. So we got the results of the CT scan. He had no brain bleeds and he had no fractures to the eye sockets or his skull, thank goodness. But he does have a significant concussion. They then let us go back out into the waiting room, printed off some information leaflets, gave us a treatment plan, gave him the do's and don'ts for the next few weeks, which he is fuming about, because basically it's don't do anything active, athletic, or anything that could result in another bump to the head for at least 2 to 3 weeks, which is not Max. If you know my Max, he is very active, very doesn't want to sit down still, quiet. He is just a jumping bean, basically. So he is fuming that there's no bike, no scooter, no football, no, you know, PE, sports classes at school or anything like that. So I've also got in touch with his school. They are very understanding, really supportive. They have put some things in place to mean that he is, as much as possible, kept away from the possibility of bumping his head again, because the doctor did explain that everybody can have 1 to 2 of these serious blows to the head and be fine and recover, but any more than that, we're in serious, dangerous territory. And obviously the few weeks after the blow, you need to be super careful about what you're doing and make sure you don't bump your head again. So I am going to show you some photos just so that you get a understanding of why I've been, you know, a bit of a stress head mess. If you are squeamish about bruising and swelling, look away. I'll tell you when it's safe. If not, here is Max's picture gallery of his new eye makeup. So that was when we first got to the hospital. Oh, that was in McDonald's afterwards. And this is the progression. Oh, that's him with my dad learning how to put a hook on a fishing line. This is the progression as the days have gone by. Oh, and that was yesterday, I think. So there we go. That is my little injured soldier. Anyway, we eventually got out of the hospital at about 9:15 at night. We were both starving. We hadn't eaten until since 1 p.m. So we found a McDonald's and I told him to eat slowly because he hadn't thrown up at this point. He had no other symptoms other than a banging headache, which is really good. I said, eat slow. You know, you need to keep food in your tummy because you're so hungry, but also we don't want to eat too fast and be sick on the car journey home. So we didn't leave McDonald's until another hour after. That McDonald's was really poor service. Got the wrong food. We made the best of it, but it was rubbish. But at least we had something in our tummies for the journey home. I then put in our home address, started the journey home, and within half an hour of travelling up the road, the big, thick, awful, disgusting fog descended, which meant again I had to slow right down. It was going to take even longer to get home. So we got home at about midnight. Max needed a shower because he was feeling gross after his accident in the hospital and stuff. So he had a quick shower, quickly filled Mike in on what was going on. I had a cup of tea and I tried to settle down. Max settled down about 1 in the morning. It obviously took Mummy a bit longer because it was just a whirlwind and hyper focus of get to Max, fix Max, get Max home, get Max settled and in bed. And then it was like, whoa, what a day. So I didn't get an awful lot of sleep. So I emailed my bosses and I said, look, can I swap my day working from home? Because normally every week on a Friday I work from home. That's my usual schedule. Can I swap my day working from home to tomorrow, meaning Thursday, so that I can keep a close eye on him? I obviously explained about the accident, what had happened, so I can keep a close eye on him. And also I've had very little sleep and it would just be more beneficial if I could stay at home, and I'll be in on Friday instead. So I woke up the next morning, checked my work emails. They were fine for that to happen. So I worked from home on Thursday. So that meant all of Wednesday, not one crochet hook was picked up. No crochet was done at all. Then Thursday, I was still really exhausted. I did my day working from home and I was really, really, really tired. And then I did manage to do what I'm about to show you on the top. But then normally, rewind. On the Thursday, I did one shoulder seam on the top. Friday, I did the other shoulder seam on the top, but because I'm still recovering from all of that stress and nightmare and emotion, that is where it ends. I wanted to have got the shoulder seams done and the side seams under the armpits done to show you today, because I knew after all of that I wasn't going to have a finished object. But I did the one shoulder seam on the Friday, and I had to just put my crochet hook down because also I'm working with black yarn. It just wasn't happening, guys. I have had probably only a quarter of my normal crochet time in the past week since you last saw what I got done. So those 3 tiny little amigurumis, I finished the front panel and I did both shoulder seams. That is it. Normally I also crochet in bed on a Saturday morning before I come on film, but there was no crochet in bed this morning because people were busy going out, doing things. I had laundry, so I just thought, no, get up, get on, get the people where they need to go, run the errands I need to errands, and then film my content. So like I said, probably less than a quarter of my normal crochet time. So the top is still inside out because that's how you do the seams. But I also did, actually, to be fair, manage to get rid of all my weaving all of my ends apart from the first end when you chain to start your project. And I only did that so I could work out which way round and stuff. So this is inside out. When we left off, you can see the back of the stitch marker. Where are we? When we left off last week, I had got to here. So from the bottom up to this stitch marker here. So I completed the rest of the front panel and did the shoulder shaping. So if I hold it back, you can see that from here up is what I completed on one of the panels. So that's quite a bit on one panel, I suppose, but I also seamed the shoulders. It's going to be hard for you to see because it is black yarn, but this shoulder is fully connected and seamed, as is this shoulder, but there is no connection on the sides yet. That's what I wanted to get done, but not. So at the minute, I've got a bit of a tabard situation. Now, the seam is raised, but that is going to be on the inside because, like I said, currently it's inside out because that's how you do the seams. But when it's the right way around, the seam is pretty flawless. Here. Here. Like I said, it's quite tricky to see, but, you know, that's good because that's what you want for a seam in a garment, right? So that is as far as we've got. I've still got to do the side seams, so I've got to leave a gap for my armpit or my arms and seam up the sides on both sides, and then I need to work on the neck trim, the arm trim and the waistband trim. So still not done. I am loving it. I am wishing that I was further ahead. I do feel a bit bad that I just keep pulling this out week after week. You're probably bored of seeing it, but I'm truthful and honest about what crafting I managed to get done every week. So the 3 tiny little amigurumis, the rest of the front panel, and seam to the shoulders, that's where we are. So hopefully next week, guys, this will be an FO. Who knows? As after what I've just told you about what happened this week, you never know what's going to come around and change your schedule up a little bit, huh? So there we go. That is my crafty catch up for this week. I will leave a link to Olga Poltava in my description box and a link to the pattern as well. It is a paid for pattern, but it is so worth every penny. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous stitch. The yarn I've chosen is so busy that you cannot see it clearly, but it is so super pretty and I can't wait for it to be done, wear it and model it for you. But there we go. Scrumdiddlyumptious in my opinion, even if I do say so myself. So yeah, still some work to do on that one, guys. Nowhere near finished, but we will get there when we get there. Every stitch is progress. We have completed cake. This is discontinued yarn. It is Yarn Bee Rapology Hues in High Alert. And you can see that I have taken a significant chunk out of this one as well. So, but still plenty to get the top finished, which is brilliant. And I have one more of these cakes still in my stash anyway. So more than enough to get the job done. It is a 2-weight and it's 90% cotton, 10% polyester. 524 yards a cake. So, but it's discontinued unless you go on Amazon or, you know, other places where they might be selling off old stuff that they've had for a while. You won't be able to go to Hobby Lobby and grab it, guys. And I got that originally in Happy Mail. So, and I think I am using my I was using my 4.5mm for the main body of the top, and for the seams I'm using a 3.5. That is completely different sizes to the pattern that it suggests because But there we go. That is all I got done, which is hardly anything, but I'm sure you can appreciate with the week I've had, it's probably more than should have happened considering the circumstances. So I am hoping that I will be able to get quite a bit done tonight once I've finished filming the content that I need to film. Sunday, I'm not going to get a lot done during the day because we're going to my mum and dad's. So I can see my little nephews, and we're celebrating my dad's birthday a week late because it was actually his birthday while Mike and I were away at the end of August. But because we were away, we couldn't celebrate. So I'm making it so that we celebrate tomorrow instead, which was last weekend for you guys. But I might be able to get a bit done Sunday evening when we get back from my mum and dad's. And then it is a full normal, back to normal work schedule where I'm on site Monday to Thursday, working from home Friday. So it's my first full week back at school. So yeah, we shall see. I'm trying not to beat myself up about it too hard. I'm trying not to put stress and pressure on myself. That was the whole point this year. I'm not letting you guys down because I still had a little bit to show you. And, you know, you had 3 little amigurumis you hadn't seen before, but you did have to sit through the top again. And you're probably going to have to sit through the top again next week. But it is okay. So there we have it. That is my crafty catch up for this week. And I managed to get through it without the laptop dying. I actually did it a lot quicker the second time round as well, because it's around this time that the laptop died and I hadn't even finished telling you all of the drama around Max. So we're doing all right. We're doing all right. So I hope the weekend ahead is a fabulous one for all of us. And yeah, there will be my usual content Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week. Yeah, it's like I said, it's been a week, guys. It's been a week. I have one more video to film after this one, and then I'm calling it. I was going to try and get a couple of videos ahead and try and be ahead of the game again, but it's already 5:15 in the afternoon on Saturday and I've been filming all day. So no, I am going to get the last video done in just a second when I finish this one, and we're calling it because I've got this week that you're watching filmed. And then next weekend the boys are with their dad. We don't have any plans as far as I know. So I will hopefully be able to get quite a bit of filming done then, fingers crossed. And hopefully I've managed to get my normal amount of crochet time, because Wednesday was, well, complete write-off. Anyway, let's not go back in the past. Let's just wish Max a speedy recovery, and that we're all back to normal and normal service resumes soon. That's all I can hope for at this point, guys. Like I said, have a fabulous weekend ahead. I will see you next week as normal, but until then, stay safe, be kind, look after one another, get some good quality time in with your loved ones, and get some good quality crafting time in. I will see you in the next one, or around the YouTube streets. Bye, guys. Love you loads.